Joining me now is Annie Cyrus. But before we get to Annie, here's that clip of President Trump walking into the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago with Eric Metaxas. We'll boost the volume so you can hear what he said. Here we go. Watch this.
Oh, my God.
He's going to get you there.
Eric Metaxas.
I want to talk to him about getting another point.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
He's going to get you there.
Eric Metaxas.
I want to talk to him about getting another point.
Well, let's pray for President Trump. And we're, by the way, we're commanded to pray for all of our leaders of our nation. Do you know that? Democrat, Republican, Independent. Pray for all of them. The Bible says that God desires that no one should perish, but all should come to repentance. That includes people we don't agree with politically, theologically, economically, geopolitically. Pray for our leaders. The Bible says, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And we've fallen a long way in our country. And it's important that we get back to what we're supposed to be doing and honoring the Lord. Because when a nation's given over, you see the consequences in Romans 1. 5 consequences when God's given over a nation. I think we see all 5 of those in play right now. Question is there still hope for America? Can America be restored? It's great to make America great again, but how are you going to do that if you don't repent and make the Lord the center of your life, your Savior, the foundation of your worldview? So politics is great, but at the end of the day, we don't have a political problem. We don't have economic problems. We have a sin problem. There's only one solution to the sin problem, and it is that he who knew no sin became sin for us, as it were, so that we might become the righteousness of God. That's the solution, right? So I'm encouraged by that little clip there. And I'm encouraged by the fact that President Trump is not saying, well, I'm going there because I'm a good person. I think that's a good point that Eric made. At least he's saying, I'm trying. Well, now we need to let him know it's not by might, it's not by works, it's a free gift for all who just simply place their faith and trust in Christ. That's it. Not going to church, not how much money you give, no works involved, faith. So pray for President Trump. All right, joining me now is Annie Cyrus. We have several very disturbing stories out. Of course, we had the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia go to the White House today. We're going to get to that. But there's a story right here at Zero Hedge. I put it up at worldviewreport.com today, your daily aggregated news site. Here it is. Could a small Venezuelan island be the real reason behind the U.S. military's Caribbean buildup? Very interesting article. And there's a guy out there on social media, Jason Lewris, Lewris, or Lewris. I'm not sure how you say it, but it's Lewris. He makes a very interesting point. He says real-time housing market data, the website Parcel Labs, explored one potential cause for the U.S. military buildup and goes beyond drug smuggling, linking Venezuelan cartels and Iranian-backed groups like Hezbollah. And when you see Hezbollah, folks, think IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard, IRGC. Quote, but drug smuggling may not be the full story or the real motivation, end quote. That's what he wrote. A far more concerning pattern is emerging. And he goes through it and he shows that how at a House hearing on March 2020 of 2013, lawmakers were briefed that Margarita Island was being used by Hezbollah to train Venezuelan cartel members. That was back in 2013. I think it was around that same time we were warning on our radio show about American domestic terrorists going to Venezuela to learn how to be involved in acts of terrorism, guerrilla warfare. He goes on in the article, fast forward, in June of this year, the U.S. launched strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Weeks later, the White House suddenly begins distributing polished footage of U.S. forces destroying smuggling boats. Here are the key points from the thread. U.S. military actions as cover. The White House has ramped up release of dramatic videos showing U.S. forces destroying drug smuggling boats. This follows U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites in 2025, June of this year, includes quiet military buildups in Puerto Rico, suggesting a broader response to threats. Historical ties on Margarita Island since at least 2013, per a House hearing. Venezuela Island has been serving as a Hezbollah training hub for local cartels, facilitating exchanges of tactics and resources. Iran and Venezuela's long-standing alliance amplifies this. Smuggling operations, including established cartel routes across the Caribbean, could now transport people, potentially terrorist operatives, rather than just drugs. Dense clusters of Venezuelan and Iranian-owned U.S. properties via shell companies tied to their governments near the southern border provide safe havens and build up over years. Look at this chart. Look at this. From just north of Los Angeles, about the center of the state of California, all the way down through parts of Las Vegas, the bottom end of Las Vegas, or Nevada, I should say, Arizona, New Mexico, the majority of Texas, right over to the Louisiana border, and then look at them all in Florida. Now, U.S. properties owned by shell companies tied to Venezuelan and Iranian governments. Can I ask you something, folks? How long have we been talking here about the idea of coordinated attacks on American facilities like schools since about 2008? Remember, the perfect day since 2008. And then, of course, we had October 7th in Israel, October 7th, 2023. And Hamas, Iran, their proxies were saying, we're going to do this again and again and again, and we're even going to take it to other countries like America. Remember a few years ago, the supreme leader of Iran said to America, be very careful. We are very near. Remember that? Be very careful. We are very near. Are we on the verge of, again, what we've been warning about? An October 7th attack? Did you know they apparently have safe houses here in the U.S.? I mean, can you look at that map one more time, folks? And tell me we don't have something to be concerned about. Great reporting here by this gentleman. Now, I want to tie it to another story and have Annie respond, because I don't believe in a lot of coincidences. I guess they do happen at times. But when I see certain things, I think, wait a minute, is that part of a bigger and broader plan? This is also over at worldviewreport.com today. Look at this. Wisconsin town under advisory as illegal alien South American crime ring targets community. Okay. The Mequon Police Department hosted a regional information sharing meeting for police agencies across southeastern Wisconsin that have been affected by recent criminal activities to share intelligence and coordinated efforts. They've identified among the burglaries, all the burglaries occurred between the days of Thursday and Sunday during evening hours with entry from the backyard. The homes were often located on cul-de-sacs or dead-end roads near wooded areas of golf courses and unoccupied at the time of the break-in. Stolen items have included jewelry, watches, designer purses, and cash. Audible security systems and exterior cameras appear to have deterred burglars in several cases. Trail cameras or other monitoring devices may be used by suspects to monitor the comings and goings of residences. Now, I don't know, maybe this is just small-time, gangs from South America. Maybe these are just small-time criminals. But maybe not. Maybe this is the testing of communities, communications, reaction. Remember, Sarah Adams, the former CIA gal, has been warning that these guys also want to carry out an October 7th, like we've been talking about for some time. She's saying the same thing, independent of us. I've never talked to her before. I'd love to interview her. I've never talked to her. But independently, she Annie, myself, others, we're all saying the same thing because we all study the same data for the most part, open source. She's been saying they want to hit communities with veterans, military veterans who were involved in Iraq, Afghanistan. Are any of these communities heavily loaded with military veterans? Now, there may be no connection at all, but I would say we should be asking ourselves questions. Why are they here? Is it just to steal jewelry? Don't they have other things to be involved in? Gun running, drugs, sex trafficking? They got to break into houses and hope they find a Rolex or something, some cash? Or is there more to it? And then another story came out today, and that has to do with the fact that you have folks that are Palestinians. A mysterious flight of Palestinians arrives in South Africa. And there are folks on social media talking about the plane load of 153,000 Palestinians from Gaza. Okay? And they're arriving, 153. Thank you for the correction. 153. Now, how quick will it take them to get from South Africa to America? Of course, we know that South Africa has fallen a long time ago, thanks to the Marxist Nelson Mandela, the red-green axis. Are we going to see some of these guys making their way into America now? Don't forget, they captured a guy in Louisiana that had been a terrorist who helped to carry out October 7th in Israel, and they captured him a few weeks ago, I should say, in Louisiana. I think we should be paying attention. Somebody's onto something here when you start talking about U.S.-owned properties, shell companies tied back to Venezuela and Iranian governments. That's the IRGC. That's Annie's wheelhouse. Let's go to Annie. Annie Cyrus joins us of liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Hello, Annie.
Hi, Brennan. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. What do you make of that little monologue?
I think you're onto something big, something I started talking about in August 12th. If your audience would go to my Substack on August 12th, I released a Substack titled Iran's Nuclear Plan B, Bomb Beyond Borders. And the second country I named with a long paragraph is Venezuela, where in that paragraph I mentioned that the relationship between Iran, IRGC, and Venezuela started early 2000. And I break down the relationship. And I break down how they use Venezuela to smuggle their people, their weapons, and now they're using Venezuela to store their nuclear pieces. That was in August 12th. And the first time there was a talk of U.S. going into Venezuela, I said, I don't buy the cartel fight. I don't. Most likely, Trump administration has received details, information, data that after what happened in 12 Days War, they could turn around and hit us here, them being IRGC. And from there, the cover-up started. Okay, we're going to go clean up cartel and drug dealers in Venezuela. But back then, I said this is about IRGC in Venezuela. Nothing more, nothing less. I mean, the icing on the cake is clean up cartels and drug traffickers and all of that, but what caused it, especially if you track back the timing, it's about the same time this Substack came out, when the information was leaked that Iran is building their nuclear bombs in 6 different countries head of Venezuela. So I agree. This is not, with the report that you were reading, he's right. This is not just about the cartels or drug. It's deeper, and it is Trump administration coming to realize that Iran can hit us a lot easier, way easier than we ever thought. And that's thanks to Venezuela.
Don't you remember the supreme leader saying to America a few years ago, be very careful, we are very near?
Yes, I actually translated that Friday morning sermon myself. Yes, I do remember. And let's not mention, recently also, the supreme leader has come out way more than usual. After hiding in the bunker for weeks underground, he's showing his face a little too much. And every single time he's talking directly to Trump, threats and threats and threats. And of course, most of the time when I report on it, most Americans just put the laugh emoji on the comments because they don't want to believe that we could be that vulnerable.
Because
And
they don't
Khamenei could mean
know
it.
they don't know that that IRGC apparently owns. I mean, it looks like hundreds, if not more, hundreds and hundreds of houses throughout America under shell companies that can be used to put their sleeper cells.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what they should know, I know I asked too much, but between your reporting and my reporting, everybody should know where we are with Iran, with IRGC, with Hezbollah, with $200 million given to Lebanon government, trusting them to disarm Hezbollah like they have anything to do with Hezbollah. We recently gave them $230 million, Brandon, to disarm Hezbollah. And this morning, Israel reports that they had to kill 2 more Hezbollah leaders. Israel is still fighting Hezbollah while IRGC is using Hezbollah members in Venezuela, and we're giving money to Lebanese government. Make that make sense somehow.
Look at this headline from Israel National News. Hamas stockpiling weapons around the world for post-war use. According to a Cannes News report, Hamas has begun storing advanced weapons, listen now, in Africa, Yemen, and other friendly states to smuggle later into strategic locations, undermining disarmament initiatives. Again, I wonder about some of these guys in South Africa getting weapons and then being smuggled into the U.S., the fighters and the weapons. I mean, so many of the ships coming into America, they're not vetted. We don't scan all of these cars, these box cars. What do you make of Hamas storing weapons around the world for post-war use?
Well, let me start from the bottom of that headline. Hamas has never agreed to disarm, so you can't say they're undermining the initiative. If you didn't agree to the initiative, you're not undermining it. That's number one. Let's make this very clear. Hamas has agreed to 1 out of 20 points, and that was releasing hostages, which were frozen on that phase 2 anyways after 6 weeks. So that's number one. Secondly, not only Hamas is storing weapons in friendly countries such as, I might specifically add, Qatar, they are also storing weapons in Qatar. Also, Iran, on Wednesday, it was reported that Iran has doubled its transfer and smuggle of weapons to Hamas as well. They're not going to agree to disarm, and if they're forced to disarm, they will fight back, not just in Gaza border, but here on our streets. And yes, I also reported on that 153 supposedly, by the way. Here's the thing, Brandon. How do we even know they're Palestinians? Because the president of South Africa specifically said, we cannot send them back. They are people from a war-torn country, even if they lack proper documentation. So how do we even know they're Palestinians? How do we know? Where's the proof? Some of them don't have birth certificates. Some of them don't have identification. They could be Afghan Talibans. They could be Lebanese Hezbollah, right? They could be Houthis. We don't know who they are. But of course, South Africa, as you said, it's been gone for a long time. And I still don't understand how can a country allow these people to stay, which not all of them stayed. The report says 130 of them stayed in South Africa. 23 of them continued to other destinations of unknown. Nobody knows where the remaining 23 of them went. They might arrive here next day.
By the way,
and with the red carpet we have for all Middle Easterns, I wouldn't be shocked.
PJ Media put this out. So much for Trump's Gaza peace plan, stated today, November 17th. In a statement before today's UN vote on Trump's proposal, Hamas said it opposes the disarmament of Gaza and insisted that any discussion about weapons will be within a Palestinian framework related to ending the occupation and establishing a Palestinian state. Calling Trump's plan dangerous, Hamas described it as an attempt to impose international guardianship over the Strip and claimed that humanitarian aid could become a tool of blackmail that pushes out UNRWA and Palestinian solutions. Any international force must be directly subordinate to the UN and work in coordination with the official Palestinian institutions without the participation of the occupation. That's what Hamas said. Of course, we know UNRWA, folks, the UN, that's where a lot of these terrorists, they had come through that UNRWA school. Many of the faculty we reported on and showed social media, them reportedly celebrating the attacks. And then I think they found weapons in the UNRWA building. And so if you're working with this group, this is not a group that's going to police them. It seems to be a group in cooperation with them, Annie.
Yes, and let's not forget, rightfully so, Bibi also said yesterday on a cabinet meeting that he said our opposition to a Palestinian state west of the Jordan remains firm. It has not changed in the slightest. So you have Bibi, who's standing his grounds of no two-state solution. You have Trump pushing UN to sign off on his two-state solution. You have, well, Saudi Prince coming to get the two-state solution. And then you have Hamas saying, give us the two-state solution. I agree with the title of that. So much for the peace plan. But the question is, if you look at the, here I go picking on Trump again, but if you follow, it's like he's not playing for the same league. Like he's just doing his own thing. Phase 1 hasn't been completed. He's on his way to get UN resolution signed for the two-state solution. Who does that? You haven't finished step 1 and you have jumped to number 9 on your plan while he already got friends to agree to his number 12, which is French police training the Palestinian police. He's all over the map with his 20-point peace plan, while again, Israel is under fire every day from Houthis, from Hezbollah, somebody asked me what would be grounds for Israel to hit Iran back. I said Israel can hit Iran right now. Every time there's a missile coming at Israel from Hezbollah, Houthis, or Hamas, that's Iran breaking ceasefire. Because everybody knows all of those weapons are coming from Iran.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But bottom line is, everything you're stating and everything you're reading should get people to think for themselves. Is this really about a peace plan, or is this about a peace price? Because there are two very different things.
Well, and is the strike on these drug cartels coming out of Venezuela, is that what that really is, or are they striking?
No, that's just icing on the cake. I guarantee. Again, I really encourage you people to read my Iran's nuclear plan B on Substack, and that will show them the timing when I wrote that, when I got the information to write it. Mm-hmm. Right after that Trump administration suddenly started poking at Venezuela. This was less than a month after the ceasefire of 12 days war. The timing lines up perfectly that they went to Venezuela because they finally, I'm sure if I got the leaked information, they got it too. Trump realized, they are way closer to me and my people than I realized. So let's go wipe them off.
So you agree with me that I don't think this is about drug smuggling. I think he's not hitting narco terrorists. He's hitting actual terrorists that are being transported to get into the U.S.
Agreed, 100%.
So let me just make sure our audience understands. We already have a map. We've shown you of what is said to be IRGC safe houses here in the U.S. This guy is putting out. We have an island that's been known since 2013 to be training Iranian terrorists. And now we have the concern that they're being brought into the U.S. on these boats who are terrorists. Now we have in Mexico, I don't know if you can bring up some of the footage, Logan. In Mexico, the young people, the Gen Zers, are sick of all the corruption, apparently, at least that's what we're being told. They crashed through the barriers of the presidential palace of Scheinbaum over the weekend. It seems Mexico's in a mess, which frankly is a great distraction for everybody, for more terrorists to come over through terror tunnels or walk across, bring in more weapons. I mean, I would be, if I were them, I'd be using all of that distraction. Would you not?
Absolutely. If I were them, I would create the distraction.
Exactly.
Like 120 people already injured, 100 of them Mexican police officers, about 23 Gen Z Mexicans injured already, and goes the chaos.
So you believe, as I do, that, as I'm going to repeat myself, that this isn't about hitting narco terrorists and killing them. President Trump's actually killing what are potential October 7th style terrorists coming into America. Why does he not want to just tell the Americans, hey, Iran's in our backyard? We already have the head of CENTCOM from like 3-4 years ago giving testimony before Congress saying China's in our backyard. Why not say, with Venezuela and others, why not say Iran's in our backyard with Venezuela? I mean, I think the American people would support him and support that. Why does he not want to just publicly tell us this?
I don't think American people would support that. American people would say, why did you stop Israel's war to turn it into our war in Venezuela? If you knew that, you should have let Israel finish Iran. I think this is damage control. He has stopped the Israel-Iran war to turn it into America-Iran war. He's not going to admit to that.
Well, didn't you and I say that? Didn't we say,
yes,
look, we better be very careful about us getting involved over there. We can support Israel. We can sell them weaponry. We can share technology. We can do whatever we need to do to support them. But we better be very careful because we likely have our own terror cells of the IRGC all through America. We know that from federal trials, so we're not guessing, right? And so we said we better be careful because they may decide they're going to start letting some of these terror cells loose in the U.S. So maybe we should just continue with our own, counterterrorism here in our borders and not send our troops overseas, but be busy here trying to find these terror cells that are here and just support Israel, sell them stuff. But no, we got involved. We bragged about it. And now it seems like the IRGC is ramping up to bring an attack to America.
Exactly. That's why he cannot admit to it. That's why it needs to look like he's just cleaning up the drug cartels over there. Because right now it comes back to, well, sir, then why did you not let Israel finish Iran? Why did you tell us you have Iran under control? Why did you tell us Iran is begging for a negotiation, though we know it's not true? So he's going to have to continue as a cover of, the bad people, cartel, drug, I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we get hit, they'll never admit to the reason behind this cleanup. They won't.
Let's go to another story real quick. Bill Malugin of Fox News, Department of Homeland Security, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, confirmed to Fox News that ICE has arrested an Uzbeki illegal alien, wanted alleged terrorist, who is driving an 18-wheeler in Kansas and had been given a CDL license by the state of Pennsylvania. 31-year-old who has an arrest warrant in Uzbekistan since 2022 for being a member of a terrorist organization and is accused of distributing terrorist propaganda, calling for jihad online, and recruiting terrorists. Per DHS, he was caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in February of 2023. ICE arrested him on November 9th while he was working as a commercial truck driver. He was granted work authorization by the Biden administration in January of 2024 and has a commercial driver's license issued by the state of Pennsylvania. Here's the concern. We keep finding out about all these Islamic, Middle Eastern truck drivers. Now, we have a lot of over-the-road professional drivers that listen to our broadcast, and they have called in on radio and told us that sometimes when they get out at certain truck stops, they're the only white guy. They're all foreigners. And we keep hearing about all these guys from the Middle East driving trucks. Would this not fit into the idea of a terrorist attack on America if you have thousands of these Islamic truck drivers? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, I don't want to give them any ideas, not that they don't already know them, but can you imagine at a high speed driving these trucks through crowds? Could you imagine? Who knows what else they could load them up with, right? But could you imagine?
Mhm.
Could you imagine these trucks crashing through the flimsy chain link fences of power substations and taking down power substations? I mean, you're talking about a massive weapon here. Again,
Yes.
we could even get more descriptive, but I don't want to give away too many ideas. But what are your thoughts? Is it just coincidental all of a sudden we have reports by over-the-road drivers from all over the country telling us we see so many Muslim drivers?
Right. Well, let me do one thing real quick because I feel like the urgency needs to be expressed. There was a time when we dealt with Middle Eastern Muslims. Now they have expanded. For example, Uzbekistan is Central Asia. It's not even inside Middle East. Based on my look of all these arrests and information, we are facing an entire Asian Islamic Jihad against us. Meaning we can't even do a safe country anymore, Brennan. And that goes back to where I said, can we stop bringing anybody in, legal or illegal? Because Asia has become a heated center of American-hating people. That's number one. Secondly, you're very correct. When first of all, why is an illegal even having a driver license of any sort? They want to say Biden did that. Okay, fair enough. If we would put our time and energy instead of chasing after a peace deal in Middle East, coming from Middle East myself, might say, instead of chasing after that, why don't we close doors and start cleaning house? Why don't we sort through DMV of every state? Why don't we look at that part is clear. DMV can link, ICE can link to DMV and tell who's legal, who's illegal, who's a citizen, who's a resident. All of that is an easy process. Why don't we pick every single one of them up before they get pulled over on the street or on the highway? Let's do that. Any illegal who was given a social security or work permit or a driver license under Biden regime, we go knock at their door, revoke all of that first. Because as an illegal, you legally, by constitution, you do not have the right to hold a social security or a driver license. You can have identification of a state ID. Even with that, you have to have an A number. So let's clean it up. And yes, I can give you 25 different scenarios of how they can use these trucks to inflict major damages wherever they are.
Well, let me show you. This is what I found over the weekend. I don't know if you've seen this video or this report. Look and listen to this about this semi-truck parked at a hotel.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how this is.
Oh, I got other audio going on. Let me fix that, guys. Take that down. Right, that take care of it? I did not take care of it. Did that take care of it? Okay, now watch this, guys. I got too many tabs open with audio. Okay, listen to this. Watch.
And hundreds of people were evacuated and dozens hospitalized after a chemical spill outside Oklahoma City. Authorities say a tanker truck carrying 25,000 pounds of ammonia was leaking while parked outside a Holiday Inn. Police say the cause of the leak might be a mechanical failure or a faulty seal. Around 500 people were evacuated and sheltered in place. Orders were given to nearby residents. Those have now been lifted, and officials say it could take days to clean up the ammonia.
Now, look at that. Now, I went on to read that article. I found that over the weekend, by the way. And the article actually talks about how many people were injured. 70 miles west of Oklahoma City is at a hotel parking lot. The report I read, there were several people that had to be rushed to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The majority are in stable condition. One was five who were airlifted. Okay? 45 people were hospitalized. 45 people were hospitalized. 5 were airlifted. Oklahoma City Area Hospitals, police said. The majority are in stable condition, though several remain in intensive care. Now, approximately 40 officers were exposed to this ammonia, with 5 sustaining chemical burns to their airwaves. Many first responders were treated at the scene, police said. I mean, this is supposedly just an accident.
Who's the driver? Where's the information of the company that truck belonged to? I want to know all of that. Who was the driver? Who owns the truck? Who owned the chemical?
Logan, are our buddies over at American Truckers on this? Let's look up and see if they are onto this. Because, sometimes they track these things. They might have the answers to this.
The last I checked, which was last night, late night, there was still no information of company owning the truck, the company that owned, why the truck was even parked there. They haven't released the agenda of the driver, where the destination was, where the pickup location was. All of that is, as of last night I looked, still nothing. And we both know, Brandon, when there is no information, we know exactly it was not an accident. When it's an accident, information quickly comes out.
Yep. When they don't release stuff, that's when you get really, really suspicious. So the bottom line is we are in a very dangerous situation. And here you and I sit connecting the dots, warning the American people. And I hate to pick on, our police and sheriffs, but I bet you most of our police and sheriffs are not connecting the dots the way we are for their own communities.
And most of them are not. You're right. You're absolutely correct. Luckily, my area, my sheriff department is connecting a lot of dots here. They're even doing investigation into some of the Muslim communities and areas and a mosque here, but majority of them are not. And I want to just add something I kind of forgot, but then it hit me again when you were talking about the IRGC, the housing and all of that. Don't forget, Fort Worth, Dallas in Texas and Los Angeles, California have plenty of the Iranians with ties to the regime and IRGC. And when I say plenty, I'm talking thousands of them. So on that map, you might see the areas, but you can count on every single one of these people's homes to become a safe house, weaponry storage for IRGC when needed. When I was in Dallas, I couldn't believe my own eyes looking at these people who I knew by face from relations to heads of Iran's regime. They're walking around shopping in Dallas malls like they were born here. So keep Texas and California, or more specifically, Fort Worth, Dallas, and Los Angeles, California on the map as well. Remember that the woman who tried to stab an American in Las Vegas in revenge of Qasem Soleimani. She was from LA. Her beauty salon was the way of laundering money for anyone in LA who was willing to carry out the attack. Those go kind of unnoticed. They're not major enough for your audience to remember, but they are there. Thousands of these businesses in LA and Fort Worth are laundering money for IRGC. The first group of kidnapping attempt on Masih al-Nejad, the money laundering was happening in LA. Money was coming to LA, from LA to New York for the kidnappers to get her. So there's LA, there's Fort Worth that needs to be added to that map.
Logan, can you find me any footage of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia visiting the White House today?
They have not released much yet.
I know. I'm having a hard time finding any. So I need Logan to help.
And again, that's the thing. With Al-Shara took hours until the first video came out. With Erdoğan, next day videos came out. With Crown Prince saying, what is with this closed door meetings? And we're not supposed to question them, right?
Yep. All I got, I'm having a hard time with any footage yet, but Tuesday marks the first time the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia steps foot in the U.S. since 2018, following the death of Saudi critic Jamal, however you say his name, by Saudi agents in Istanbul, which caused global outrage. That was posted today, November 17th.
I just sent you a video.
Why are they saying Tuesday? Today's Monday. Didn't he get here today?
Yes. Here, I just sent you a video. Apparently ABC News has some of the footages out. Oh, they already signed a couple of agreements too. Great. Sorry.
Yeah, Trump says he'll sell F-35s at Crown Prince set to visit the White House as he sounds. Yeah. Okay, there's some pictures, right? No, that's not from now. That's from when he was back in Saudi Arabia back in May.
Yeah, hold on. The ABC footages are the same. They're from when he was there.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's current. Nothing. Even the picture is 2018. So
Isn't
again,
that curious?
yeah. Now I do have breaking news, however.
So do I, but you go first.
I bet we have the same breaking news. Congratulations, says President Trump, to the world on the incredible vote of the United Nations Security Council just moments ago, acknowledging and endorsing the Board of Peace, which will be chaired by me and include the most powerful and respected leaders throughout the world. This will go down as one of the biggest approvals in the history of the United Nations, will lead to further peace all over the world, and is a moment of true historic proportion. Thank you to the United Nations and all of the countries on the UN Security Council: China, Russia, France, United Kingdom, Algeria, Denmark, Greece, Guyana, South Korea, Pakistan, Panama, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, Somalia, and also thank you to the countries that weren't on this list, weren't on this committee, but strongly backed the effort, including Qatar, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Turkey, and Jordan. The members of the board and many more exciting announcements will be made in the coming weeks. And he's going to be the chairman of the board. Okay, so they're going to be chairman of a board for a two-state solution?
Yes.
That is already not workable, as Hamas won't disarm.
And Netanyahu has
And the
said he
meeting
won't
with the
sign.
Saudi prince isn't until tomorrow, Tuesday. Okay, that's why we don't have any footage. All right. We'll play that tomorrow. But this is do we have the same breaking news story?
Wait, do we know why they postponed it? That's a curious thing.
Apparently
Why
they
did
didn't,
postpone?
I'm being told. Logan's checking. Apparently it was always set for Tuesday. 7 a.m. this morning, the White House said 7 a.m. this morning, Tuesday. So we'll watch that. Well, okay, what do you make of this?
When I put out my report, though, it was dated for today. Trump, on the Thursday press conference, he talked about Monday and excitement, and we're not just meeting, we are honoring the Crown Prince, all of that. So, but let's finish on your breaking news, and then I'll give you mine, because
Not the same.
not the same, not at all. Yes, but yeah, they're going to have this is what I was saying earlier on. He's all over the map. The phase 1 isn't finished, and he already got UN approval. And let's not mention, isn't this the same UN that Trump was supposed to pull US out of? And we don't want to work with UN because UN is a joke. Now we're crediting UN. UN has always been on the side of Palestinians.
Well, they've been on the side of the Marxists. I mean, they're covered up with the red-green axis, the Marxist and the Islamist.
This is and that's the thing. There is no congratulation. With all due respect, or whatever respect is left for you, Mr. President, on my behalf, there is no congratulations. You just got approval from an organization that gave the seat for human rights to Iran and gave the seat to women's right to Saudi Arabia. Them signing off on your plan holds the same credibility as those two chairs. So you might be the chair of this board, but to people like me who are aware of real agenda behind UN, your chair will have as much credibility as Iran and Saudi Arabia. So, not to be Debbie Downer, but to me, this just means that we are turning against Israel. Everything in this peace plan, everything in this board, everything he's signing off on is turning against Israel. We are endangering Israel every day with these policies, with these moves. And now Tony Blair and Trump are going to have a transitional government in Palestine. That's going to be fun to watch.
Well, this is a tweet from August 29th of 2024. Dr. Eli David. Antonio Guterres, he's, by the way, the Secretary General of the UN, folks. He's on the left. And Silva, the longtime Marxist, both of them, he says two longtime Marxist terrorism-supporting friends. One is Secretary General of the UN, the other President of Brazil. So this is who we're working with when we work with the UN. And we all know that Antonio Guterres, is huge into Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, the whole UN goals, which basically marks us all like cattle, tracks us, 15-minute cities, socialism, redistribution of wealth, abortion on demand, active euthanasia, radical climate control, which means carbon footprint, which means carbon tax credits, which means a tax on business. I mean, this is who the UN is. Well, I don't understand why we're doing anything with the UN. Why are we giving them any validity, period? Why are we running anything through the UN?
Well, from what I recall, right next to Make America Great Again, the slogan was U.S. will walk away from UN too. But I guess just like the first one failed, the second promise failed too. Now we're like, I'm trying to control my anger right now. Again, we have a country that is under attack from inside, outside, and from within. Our longest government shutdown just resumed working. Inflation is almost as scary. And our president is out there chasing after peace for Palestinians. Give me a break. Our White House has officially become the hub for jihadists. We got Erdoğan coming, al-Shura coming, Crown Prince coming. Mark my words. Next will be Pezeshkian, President of the Islamic Republic of Iran. With the speed we're going, Pezeshkian is going to get an invitation to the White House. That's the real history to make. After al-Shura being the first Syrian president, then we're going to have the first Islamic Republic of Iran's president coming to White House. I don't understand. How can Americans be okay with this in any shape or form?
Because they're not plugged in. The majority of them are completely unplugged. They're not following. They're not
Do they
tracking.
not do grocery shopping, Brandon?
Well, they do.
How can you not be plugged in?
But they're not
Do you
plugged
not-
into the. They're not plugged into Islam, Iran, the countries.
No,
It's-
that's all right. But they go shopping, grocery shopping. They go. It's Christmas season. They're trying to get Christmas gift for their family members, their children. They're trying to get a winter clothes for their kids. They see the inflation. And then on the news, they see that we're taking up Make Syria Great Again. Okay, Syria is a great country. They don't know al-Shura is a blood-thirsty jihadist. But they do see their president is spending their time and energy on another country, don't they?
Everything is about foreign policy. There's a lot of talk about the economics. And now they're saying that we're going to get $2,000 stimulus checks by the middle of 2026. Whether that really happens or not, I don't know. But they certainly are going to say, well, it's only going to be to those who make, X dollars and below. I can't see them sending out a $2,000 check to every American. I mean, we've already got inflation. They're already going to stop, I guess, come the 1st of December, any kind of quantitative tightening. So we're going to add more inflation by cutting checks to people? I mean...
I saw a report that if they do cut those checks, it's going to cost the government double the profit of supposedly tariffs that they're taking these 2,000s from. It's already upside down there.
So they're going to do that right before the midterms. People get a check in the mail. But to what end with massive inflation? Of course, everybody's laughing at the dollar. I've got to get to your breaking story, but we have another one coming out of Plano, Texas. Yeah, they're all the Islamists are taking over Plano. You guys remember that, right? Listen to this report from the local Fox affiliate.
Disturbing details from Plano police. According to investigators, that woman was hit at least twice with a hammer, and detectives did find that hammer as well as duct tape and other items at the crime scene they're not ready to reveal.
It's scary, actually.
Frequent users of Bob Woodruff Park in Plano are uneasy after a woman was attacked by a stranger with a hammer late Thursday afternoon.
We know lots of people that are out here, so if we see somebody we don't know, then we avoid that area.
According to Plano police, the woman was jogging along the path at Shiloh Road just south of Park Boulevard around 5 p.m. Thursday when 17-year-old Sergio Noe de Nova Duarte approached and violently attacked her with a hammer.
Initially, what got the suspect away from her is that she fought this suspect off of her.
Officer Andre Smith says the victim was hit at least twice and suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Duarte ran off but was caught later that night.
There was evidence left at the scene that led us to a person of interest, and about 4 hours later, right at about 9 o'clock, we took an individual into custody.
Officer Smith says that evidence recovered at the park included the hammer, duct tape, and other items that police do not want to disclose at this time.
Now, this guy is not a Muslim, but he's reportedly, according to reporting
Illegal?
from Fox, He's a 17-year-old illegal migrant from Mexico.
Yep.
And duct tape.
I was about to say this wasn't about killing her. It was
No, he was going to
kidnapping.
rape her. He was going to, I think, rape her, right? Kidnap her.
Probably kidnap, and then with buddies, go for rape. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly kill her after, because
And
that's
why she
normally
wasn't
how they
harmed
do.
and didn't give him lead poisoning, I don't know.
In Plano, Texas?
Right.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah.
that
Nope.
you could I mean, that's kind of shocking. I thought everybody in Texas carried, right?
You would think that, but I can tell you, at least being in Dallas area, Plano, and some other areas, no, they don't actually, and they will kind of step back if they notice you do.
All right, so
Surprised
tell me what your breaking
remember
news
the
is.
cultural change there. Okay, my breaking news is the Crown Prince of Saudi received a letter from Iran's president this morning, and the detail of the letter is not been released. However, Pezeshkian himself has said that he has reached out to Crown Prince to try to repatch military agreements between Iran and Saudi Arabia. I guess Pezeshkian will be coming to White House, huh?
All right.
Sorry.
So
Shouldn't laugh.
what do you think, as we wrap here, what do you think is going to happen with the Saudi prince? I guess we've now determined that meeting will take place tomorrow at the White House. What's going to go on there?
Well, Trump is going to sign off on all the requests that Saudi Arabia has asked for, which is extended military guarantee, F-35s, and more weapons. And I should mention this, just in case if I'm not on your show tomorrow. I want your audience to understand, because some people are like, bunch of F-35 we sell them to everybody. This is about the person who is coming to the White House, receiving what they're receiving. In 2019, even U.S. Congress blacklisted this Crown Prince. He was never invited back since 2019. He wasn't to receive any agreements, any handshakes, none of that. After it was clear, and even CIA put out information, that he ordered the hit and killing of the Saudi ambassador. So we are bringing a basically killer, not that I'm surprised at that part, with no legal holds. He's a crown prince. He's not the king. He's not the president. He's not the prime minister. He's just a crown prince. And Trump is legitimizing his power, inviting him based on what Trump said himself. We're not just meeting, we're honoring the crown prince. And then he's giving him military deals. That's where my problem lies. I know we've been selling weapons to Saudi Arabia forever. That's not the problem. Well, it is a problem. We shouldn't do it. But the problem is who's coming on the long list of those who shouldn't be invited to our White House. Now, I believe Trump needs to deliver, Brandon, for Saudi Arabia to sign or join the Abrahamic Accord and the peace deal. He needs to deliver. He's going to give Prince tomorrow everything he's asking. Everything.
And of course, we know that the Trump organization, I guess, has, according to Times of Israel, Trump organization said close to joining $63 billion Saudi-owned real estate project.
Yes.
And then if you go to worldviewreport.com, you'll see I have another one here. And that one is on, I think that's
don't forget Kushner.
Forbes magazine. Here's everything we know about the Trump's financial ad. Here's everything we know about Trump's financial, get rid of this ad. Can you get rid of these ads, boys? Man, there we go. Here's everything we know about the Trump's financial ties to Saudi Arabia. That's Forbes magazine. So again, look, he has a right to run his business, build hotels, resorts, wherever he wants. But people have a right to say, wait a minute, what's going on with all Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia? I don't know. To me, it starts, I mean, if this was another administration, a lot of people would be asking, What's going on here? I mean, these are fair questions, are they not?
They are. These are the questions I asked on my Substack today. Why are personal businesses, and at least I phrase it as, Trump's inner circle should not be in the room when we're doing business for the country. But then, unfortunately, Trump has mixed the inner circle of family and business all together. Everybody's running the country together. So we can at least ask. Not that we're going to get answers. Clearly, we're not going to get answers. But yes, Saudi Arabia. And again, it's not even about Saudi Arabia. It's the prince himself. Like this guy, I guess I shouldn't push too much. I mean, al-Shara came here and nobody minded. Why would anybody mind Prince? Because it's not as bad as al-Shara. But bottom line is, I'm sorry, there's way too much mix up going on with Trump administration. The Kushner involvement, the Qatari involvement, Saudi Arabia involvement, now Syrian involvement. This is all going. We're going to pay the price. We are going to pay the price.
Well, they can wake up now or they can wake up later, but there you go. All right, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. It's all there. The Crown Prince, a red carpet, and a risk America can't ignore. There you go. liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Also, 3 p.m. Central every day right here on Worldview Tube. Annie Cyrus. Annie, thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Annie. All right, guys, that's our broadcast for tonight. Do you appreciate what we're doing? All we're cranking out? Please support us, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. We have a lower third for that, worldviewfoundation.com. Please don't forget about us in your end of the year giving. It's vital that we have your support. How about the Dolly cam before we go? Everybody wants to check in with Dolly. Hello, Dolly. Dolly cam is black. It's not working for some reason. Well, then you better come over here. Come on over here and say good night. Say good night, Gracie. That's way over a lot of people's heads. If you're, oh no, that'd be George Burns. All right, there you go, Miss Dolly. We should pull the. There you go. Pull that computer screen down so everybody can see this beautiful lab. Yeah, you're a good girl, aren't you? All right, that's our broadcast for tonight. As always, we are Dolly approved, aren't we, Dolly? Dolly approved. And look at again these white teeth, beautiful white teeth. Look at those. Woo! That Gatatana, girl. It's that Gatatana. Get your dog on Gatatana like we got Dolly. And I'm on Gatatana too, you know that. MelissaHouseGPA.com. You love having your back scratched, don't you? Melissa House. MelissaHouseGPA.com. I'll give you 5 minutes to stop doing that, Dad. What else do we got, guys? All kinds of products at worldviewstore.com, worldviewstore.com. So check it out. Roll the music, boys. Let's call it a night. By the way, I'd be stacking up on the freeze-dried food. I've got about 3 years worth. Not only, you shedding, girl. Shedding on me. Not only to have for emergencies, World War III, cyber attacks, whatever else, terrorist attacks, but to barter with. I mean, I'd be stocking up, folks. It's all there. Worldviewstore.com, or you can stay in the dollar that's going down, or you can put it into something that's actually tangible that you can eat as well as barter with. Worldviewstore.com. Thanks for watching. May God save America. Take care.
This is Brannon House Live. Whether the issue is law, science, economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, government, or national security, Brannon brings the issues of the day into clear focus through the lens of a Judeo-Christian worldview. And now, here is your host, Brannon House.
And welcome to the broadcast. On this November 17th, 2025, Eric Metaxas is going to join me tonight. He wrote the big book. It's a big book, like a phone book. It's a phone book on Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And, of course, he helped to start the Confessing Church, as you know, and oppose Hitler and what they were doing there, and to the Jews, of course. And yet, Tucker Carlson has come out last week and said something really, can I just say stupid, about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I'll play the clip and have what is probably the premier expert on Dietrich Bonhoeffer in America, Eric Metaxas, respond. Also, Eric was at a wedding over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago. President Trump walked in to greet the bride and groom, as he's often want to do. And he sees Eric and he says, this guy is going to get me into heaven. How did Eric Metaxas respond to that?